And for the whole week, we've been going, this Spurs game is a must-win game. It's absolutely massive. You know, last night we were doing the show, it's massive. This morning, it's massive. It's such a big game. How is it 75,000 Man United fans know that in the stadium? And millions of Man United fans know that worldwide. But the 11 players that get the opportunity, or should I say, you know, prize, the 11 players that get the honour of wearing a Man United shirt in a massive game, basically walk out, take the shirt off and wipe their arse with it. You know, and that to me is absolutely incredible. I can't get my head around that. So, you know, regardless of the Ten Hag in-out conversation, regardless of what Ineos do, regardless of whatever, you know, new thing we're meant to get behind, I just can't move past this anymore. I can't move past the fact that I can't trust and do not trust these players. They are completely and utterly weak. They are weak-minded players who do not care enough about this club to bother to turn up. One or two players, I might expect it. I've seen them do it before. There are certain players on that pitch today who've sacked 3 or 4 managers. So, you know, it's nothing new. But some of those players have only been here a few weeks. Some of those players are actually good. And it's almost like a WhatsApp group went round and said, nah, we're not doing this today. We're not. It was incredible. And there is a word for it, disgrace. And you know what? For the last 2 years, I've been very positive about this. And it's not because I like Ten Hag. I think there are aspects of his management that are very, very frustrating. I think he's very stubborn. I think stubbornness around certain players is frustrating. You know, a lot of people were frustrated that Ahmad didn't start. And you could look at that and go, well, he would have done better than the players he picked. There are aspects of Ten Hag that are very frustrating. But I've chosen, as many have as well, and maybe still choose, to believe that sacking another manager is just not going to make any difference. We're just going to get back on the cycle. We need to walk down a less trodden path where we just keep sacking managers and blaming managers, and we actually look at what's going on above and what's going on below. And that is why I've tried to stick with this for 2 years. Honestly, I don't really care what they do now, because I've had my optimism broken to such a point that during that game today, I was just like, I don't know why I bother. I don't know why I bother being optimistic, because you are banging your head against a brick wall. There is no optimism. There is no fix. It is what it is. There are so many clubs better than us. We are living a fucking lie, and no manager's going to come in and change that unless we clear out a squad that we just won't clear out. We have got players in that team that are not trustworthy. We can name them if you want to, but I'll be naming them when the new manager comes in, because I'm not going to be positive with the new manager. I'll get behind the new manager. I want Man United to win, but I'm not pretending that the new manager, like I did with Ten Hag, like I did with Ollie, like I did with Jose, oh, you know, this is the one we've been waiting for. No, absolutely not. It won't be the one. It won't be the one we're waiting for, because guess what? Rashford will still be on the fucking wing, ducking out of tackles like a coward. Bruno will be doing nothing else and getting sent off. You know, Maguire and Lindelof will probably be backup centre-backs. We probably still won't have a fucking left-back. I mean, can I just talk about that? As bad as Delo is, I've said it, you've said it, we're going to get found out for not having a left-back. We're going to get found out for only having 2 fullbacks. Mazraoui was shit. Delo was shit. What do? You can't take either of them off. You can't take one of them off. And we knew this in the summer. We knew in the summer we didn't have a left back. And lo and behold, our left back has an absolute stinker. There's nothing we can do. There's nothing we can do. So a new manager comes in, or Ruud van Nistelrooy comes in. You know what'll happen? The players will get in their WhatsApp group, like they obviously did today, and said, we don't fancy it. Fuck the fans. Fuck the shirt. We don't fancy it today. Who knows why they didn't fancy it? Maybe they want to change. Maybe they've had enough of this manager. I don't know. But they didn't fucking fancy it. For whatever reason, they've turned up today and gone, we don't fancy this, lads. We don't do this today. Because I've never seen such a disgraceful performance from a set of players since the last one. That was disgusting. I couldn't even bring myself to watch that first half an hour again. It was disgusting. It was cowardly. They couldn't pass. They couldn't tackle. They weren't, it was cowards. Cowards. That is not what Manchester United is. But what'll happen is we'll bring a new manager in, they'll get in the WhatsApp group and they'll go, right, let's make sure everybody knows it was Ten Hag's fault. So for the next 3 months, let's absolutely bang it. Let's get the results. And don't tell me it won't happen, because guess who it happened to? Jose. They look like a bunch of fucking blindfolded pricks under Jose in the last 2 months. Ollie comes in with a song and they play like the world beaters for 3 months. And then, we've done enough now. And then they go back to playing like blindfolded pricks again. People forget that for 3 months under Ollie, we were brilliant. And then Ollie gets a contract, you go to Everton and you get stuffed. Because they did that to try and show the world that Jose was the problem. That's why they did it. They played really well. They tried. They downed tools to get rid of Jose, and then they tried to show the world it was Jose's problem. But after 3 months, they couldn't be arsed because they're inconsistent, weak players. And this is what will happen again. We'll get rid of Ten Hag. They'll try for Rude for 3 months or whatever. And then after 3 months, they'll go, yeah, can't be asked to do that. It's too much like hard work. I've got to go back to being an inconsistent waste of space again. So I don't see the fix. I don't see the fix. And that's the devastating thing today. I just don't see the fix. And, also, I think, what unfortunately as well, what do Ineos do? What do Ineos do next? Because unfortunately for them, they've done so much good. They've done so much good. But they didn't sell Rashford. They gave Bruno a contract. They bought all these players. They kept Ten Hag. They're now probably going to sack Ten Hag. They're going to be stuck with the players that they kept. I mean, look, I'm not blaming Ineos here. What I'm saying is I agreed with some of the stuff they did. But what I'm trying to say is Ineos have now, on their CV, got big mistakes on it. Like massive mistakes. And those people who said, well, take a look at what they did at Nice, it wasn't good, they're going to be flooding back going, you're all idiots. I mean, I remember Simon Jordan saying it. I think Simon Jordan talks a lot of shit, but sometimes he talks a bit of sense. And he said, I don't know what the big party is about Ineos because their footprint in football isn't actually that good. And unfortunately, I'm not saying he's right. I hope they can prove him wrong. But where we are at the moment, they've made some big decisions that look bad decisions. I actually agree with, but I'm not the CEO. I'm not the owner of the football club. I'm not party to what goes on behind the scenes. I don't know what the dressing room's like. I don't know what the player mentalities are like. We only see what we see. They do. They gave Bruno Fernandes a contract. I thought it was a good idea, but I didn't like 300 grand a week. Well, the new manager, this is what I'm trying to say. The new manager, when you sack Ten Hag, the new manager has Bruno Fernandes for 3 years on 300k a week. The new manager has got Marcus Rashford on 300k a week for 4 years. So the new manager has still got those problems that were shite today. So I don't see a quick fix. I really don't. I think we are fucking miles off. And I don't think changing the manager will get us, it might get us a little bit closer, but it's not. What do Man United need? We probably need another £1 billion and a clear out again. We probably need open heart surgery again. And that's the scary thing. Sahil says, the definition of insanity is doing the same thing and hoping for a different outcome. Well, mate, I don't have any answers for you anymore. I think we pontificate and pretend that we do. And look, maybe some of you who've been screaming Ten Hag out for months, instead of saying, I told you so, you can tell us what we do next. Because I've been asking you this for a year. So if you're celebrating tonight or happy because you've been proven right, well done. But what are we doing next? Because this is something many people will not tell us. It's all about sacking Ten Hag, but what are we doing next? Who are we going for next? And where is the money coming from for the next manager? And are we going to sell the players that have sacked 3 or 4 players, 3 or 4 managers, or are they going to stay as well? And what are we going to do with the new players? And how is a new manager going to stop performances like this that are completely and utterly unpreventable and unfathomable? I mean, somebody said in the watch along, it's on the manager to motivate the players and make them play well. Last time I checked, that's not the case. Because if that was the case, then Pep Guardiola wouldn't buy the world's best players. He'd win the Premier League with Preston. Like, you have to have it in you. You have to have consistency in you. And what we are rotten. We have never got rid of all the bad apples. So we will never get consistency. And, you know, you look at Arsenal with Arteta, they gave him the freedom to get rid of Aubameyang, to get rid of Ozil, to get rid of the problems, no matter what their wage was on. You look at Pep Guardiola, he will be allowed to buy 3 or 4 right backs to get the right back that he wants. You look at Klopp, he was given the freedom at Liverpool to get rid of the players he didn't want and bring the players in he wanted to. You look at Jose, you look at Ollie, you look at Ten Hag, they've never been given the freedom to get rid of all the players. They're allowed to get rid of some, but some can't be sold. You're not allowed to sell Martial and Shaw. You're not allowed to sell Maguire. You're not allowed, you know, so until that happens, how are we going to get anywhere? Look, the poll says 64% of you would sack Ten Hag, 36% of you wouldn't. I'll tell you what I think is going to happen with that in a minute, but I don't actually think it matters. The sad thing is, I don't actually care, and I don't actually think it matters. I was watching that game with you good people today, and I'm watching it, and I'm talking, and I'm seeing it, and in my head, I'm going, we're done. We're actually done. Like, I can't see a way back. We're going to build a new stadium. We're going to regenerate the area. It's going to take fucking years. And I don't know how we're paying for it. The Glazers are still here, by the way. 50% of the club is still owned by those vultures. We have still got players that will be here no matter who the manager is. They will still be here and they will still be picked because maybe their contract dictates it. You know, whoever your dream manager is, and I'm not picking on these 2 players, but whoever your next manager is, 2 of your 11 spots will be Rashford and Bruno for the next 2 years. So can you win a title? Can you be consistent with those 2 players? You answer the question. But I'm telling you now, they're still going to get picked for the next 2 years, whoever your manager is. So debt, Glazers, certain players are still going to be here. We've got to build a new stadium. And in the meantime, Arsenal, Chelsea, Spurs, Villa are moving further and further away with better players and consistency. I mean, the contrast today, forget the managers, forget the style of play. It wouldn't matter. Because even if you had a great manager like Ange in charge of both teams, the Man United side decided not to turn up. Spurs, from second 1, intensity, concentration, passing, they were on it. Man United in the first 5 minutes had opportunities to play good passes. They had opportunities to make good tackles. They bottled tackles. They miscontrolled the ball. Their head was not there. And I don't, and I will not trust these players. Few people are talking about the red card. Who are the bad apples in the squad? Brian, pick your mate. It's not who I say are the. I mean, look at fucking Onana. I mean, God, what did we do to De Gea? I mean, this goalkeeper couldn't save a Word document. I mean, he's just very, very average, isn't he? I'm sure he's a nice guy and I'm sure he's very good at passing out from the back, but his saving ability is absolutely shit. I mean, that Kulusevski goal, oh, God, I don't know. But a few people talking about the red card. Honestly, I don't think it was a red card, but if we're going to spend any time talking about that, we're missing the point. The red card doesn't change the game. We were absolutely shit before the red card and we deserved to lose the game and we were going to lose the game anyway. The red card actually might be a blessing in disguise because people get to see the team without Bruno, no matter who the manager is. I mean, look, if I was Erik Ten Hag, I would literally go into the office tomorrow and say, sack me. Sack me. You're going to sack me anyway. Don't wait till the international break because I don't see the point in me going to Villa next week. I'm going to lose anyway. So you may as well give the job to the new manager now, you know, because there's just no point. They're not going to bother. They're not going to turn up. So give it the new manager. You might get a new manager going on. I Show Speed says, what's going on, man? Heartbroken. Me and you, yeah, just devastated, mate. Absolutely devastated. Little on Quality says, Rashford needs to go. Barnsley is his level. Look, honestly, it's not on Rashford. It's not on Bruno. It's not on Onana. It's not on Delo. if you'd asked me at half-time who to sub, I don't know where to start. I wouldn't know where to start. I don't know who you take off. That's the crushing thing today, is that it was just so bad. And I think for me, the fullbacks were the biggest disappointment, because they're the two players that have been so consistent this season. Ten Hag bought Mount for 60 million with 1 year left on his contract, says Marcus. I think we need more Ajax players, says J Dead. Thoughts on De Ligt since joining? Because Owen and Scholes saying he isn't an upgrade on Maguire. You know what, Kingy? This is what I mean. Why are we talking about De Ligt? So we lost that game because of De Ligt, did we? Okay, good one. And did we lose it because of Agate as well? Maybe we lost it because of Xerxes and Mazraoui. Okay, fine. You know, you jump on the naive, basic British punditry bandwagon of taking a pop at foreign players. And if that makes you sleep well tonight, well done. I'm looking at the bigger picture. I'm looking at Manchester United. I'm looking at, you know, the fact that nobody turned up. The fact that some of these players have been here a few weeks. Some of these players have been here a few years. Where you want to point the finger of blame is up to you, but you can't tell me De Ligt was shit and Martinez was fantastic. You can't tell me that Agate was shit and Mainu was amazing. Like, the whole team was crap. Absolutely crap. So I don't really... I'm sure it will happen. I'm sure people will pin it on one player, but there's no point pinning it on Rashford. There's no point pinning it on Bruno. The whole team didn't turn up. And what's the most important thing about team? It's everybody. Nobody turned up. Nobody turned up. So how can you individualise it? I would not have known... If we'd have had 11 players on the pitch at half-time, who do you sub on? You've got to make subs, but who do you take off and who do you take on? You know, I don't know. Phil says, I doubt their contracts say they must play every game, seeing how they keep moaning about having to play too much football, says Phil. No ball retention from the start, says Dowald. Ten Hag had his chance, says Evans. Yeah, but you know what, Evans? You're not going to get agreement out of me on that one, I'm afraid. I'm not bothered if they sack Ten Hag. I'm past it. I just really just don't care anymore. If the players can't be asked, what's the point in being passionate as a fan? I'll support the club. I mean, tomorrow is another day, but I don't care. I'm not fighting for Ten Hag. I'm not fighting for individual players. If they don't want to fight for us, I can't be asked. But what I will say is, I completely disagree with people trying to pin this on the manager. He is responsible, but he is not the only responsible. Like I said, if you've just started watching Man United in the last 2 years, then you're very naive, because we've been in this position with Ollie, we've been in this position with Mourinho, we've been in this position with Moyes, we've been in this position with Van Gaal, and now we're back in it with Ten Hag, and we're in this position with Rangnick. If this is a shock to you tonight, well, I don't know where you've been. We've been in this position literally 6 times in the last 10 years. It's always the same, and it's always pinned on the manager. And it never is just the manager. In fact, most of the time, as with Jose, it's the players not turning up for whatever reason. Too much player power at that football club. I can't believe how bad they were from the start of that game. I can't believe you can turn up in that atmosphere in a game like that and put such little effort in. They were like deers in the headlights. Absolutely terrified. Sid says, you're giving these players too much credit. They can play against that Spurs press. Same thing for Liverpool. I don't think there's a conspiracy. They just can't deal with it, says Sid. Mark is on fire. Preach, never Eric Ten Hag's fault, says Pizza. Well, it is Ten Hag's fault. I'm not defending Ten Hag. It is his fault. Of course it's his fault. But it's not only his fault. And I think that's what irritates me. Obviously, you've got these morons in the fan base that are obsessed with being right, and it's about watching the world burn down, and that's what society can be like. I get that. But, you know, are we going to have a proper conversation, or are we just going to... Look, these people who are saying it's all on Ten Hag out, in 3 years' time, whoever the next poor manager will be, they'll do it to them. Because some of us have been here. Oh, it's all Jose's fault. It's all Jose's fault. Get rid of him. Oh, it's all Ollie's fault. Get rid of Ollie. Oh, it's all Van Gaal's fault. Get rid of Van Gaal, right? But it wasn't all Van Gaal's fault, and it wasn't all Jose's fault, and it wasn't all Ollie's fault. They probably all needed to get sacked, and Ten Hag probably will need to get sacked. But sacking him will not change it. What are you going to do? You know, instead of standing outside Old Trafford or in your bedroom or whatever, or you know, what are you? What can we? You know what? It's very easy to say sack the manager. Let's sack Ten Hag tonight. It must happen tonight. Let's do it tonight. But what are we doing tomorrow? What are we doing tomorrow? Like, I'm very rarely don't have an opinion, but what are we doing tomorrow? I don't know what we're doing tomorrow. Should we give it to Ruud? Bit of continuity. He knows some of the players that we've brought in. He's been coaching them. We get a bit of a bounce. And then probably around Christmas time, we go somewhere like Man City and Ruud gets his arse handed on a plate because the players don't fancy it. You know what I mean? That's what I'm saying. Like, let's sack the manager. Let's give it to Ruud. In 2 months' time after the bounce, we'll go and play a good team. And some of these players will go, well, I don't fucking fancy that. I like you, Ruud, but you're on your own. And then by February, he's lost 2 or 3 games and everyone's like, nah, he's not the man. We need Tuchel in the summer. And then Ruud's gone, Tuchel comes in, another rebuild. You're not good enough, another 300 million. And then Tuchel comes in, we get a bit of a bounce again. And then you play a good team and you get your arse handed on a plate again. That's the point for me tonight, is that by all means, sack the manager. Like, absolutely fine by me. Do it. I wouldn't do it, but do it. I've got no leg to stand on, so do it. But the reason I wouldn't do it is because I don't see us not being in this position in a year or 6 months or 2 years or 3 years. I'm absolutely convinced, if I can be honest about one thing, if I can be predicting one thing, is that we will be back here. And people are saying Nagelsmann, and people are saying deluded Bridge. Mate, what in the last 10 years do you think you're going to do differently to make this work? Please tell me. Don't say deluded. Don't say, you know, lost the plot. Don't say Nagelsmann. What are we going to do when Ten Hag is gone that is going to change what we've done from the last 10 years? Do you genuinely believe that Nagelsmann's going to come in and go, Bruno, I want you to get in the game more. I want you to play like Odegaard every week. I want you to lead the team, get hold of the ball, look after the ball, and give me an 8 out of 10 every week. Marcus Rashford, I want you to be like Saka every week. I want you to contribute, play well, you know, consistently, score goals, create goals, and I want you to do it every week. And do you think Bruno and Rashford are going to go, oh, you know what, it's that easy. Rangnick never said this to me. Ten Hag never said it to me. And Ollie never said it to me. I'll do it for you, Gaffer. I'll do it. And then we're going to win the league. Do you really think that's going to happen? And obviously I'm using Rashford and Bruno because, you know, they've been here for a while. But, you know, say it to Delo. Oh, Luke Shaw, let me touch your leg. I've got healing hands. You'll be fit for 60 games a season and play till you're 49. Yeah, it's just not going to happen, is it? It's not going to happen. And that's why I despair. Because I'm like, oh my God, there's people who are just so locked on sacking the manager. They've not thought about what comes afterwards because they genuinely think Jesus Christ is going to manage us and heal the club. Maybe you can get Michael Jackson to come down as well and he can sing Heal the World while we're doing it. It's just not going to happen, is it? It's not going to happen. And maybe they can get Anana and say, you know, we're going to give you go-go gadget arms. And, you know, you're going to make saves now instead of, you know, moving your hand away like a bloody EAFC keeper. Like, it's just, I don't think I've been this low, but I don't think I've been this clear. You know, I've had plenty of rants over the years, but I don't think I've been this low and yet have this much clarity. There is no fix. There is no fix. So shout and scream and demand Ten Hag to get the sack. Get calling in. Get on Twitter. Do what makes you feel better. But I tell you what, I just don't see it. I don't see it. I don't see a way back. Because what you're asking for is some manager to come in and solve all of Man United's problems that I don't think can be solved. So by all means, attack the Ten Hag inners. Attack me. Oh, it's all your fault because you backed Ten Hag. Sack him in May, sack him tomorrow. Do you think anything, you know, what would the difference be in May? What changes in May? Tuchel comes in May. Did Rashford get sold? Did Bruno not get given a new contract? Did Luke Shaw not get injured? Did we buy a left back? Did we start playing consistently well every week? Did Anana start making demanding saves? Did we start scoring all of our chances? Did we fucking bollocks? He's a man. He's not a bloody miracle worker. The problems are deep. And you don't solve them on the... The problems are deep and you don't sell them on the... God, cut me words out. The problems are deep and you don't solve them on the cheap. We want to solve all our problems on the cheap. That's what we want to do. You know, I'm going to go Sean Dyche. What if Ineos know they need a really good number 10 like Odegaard to make it work? What if the number 10 we need is an Odegaard type? What if Man United know that Bruno's not the right number 10? What if Ten Hag and Van Nistelrooy has spoken with Ashworth and said, the problem is Bruno is not the right number 10? And then they've all sat down and gone, well, we can't afford £100 million for that. It's cheaper to give Bruno another 50k a week. 50k a week on top of Bruno's wage is 200 grand a month. It's £2.5 million a year. Let's just give Bruno an extra £2.5 million a year and make him stay, and we'll work with that. You know, we can't sell Rashford. It would cost